All right. So here we are, Contact Exec. Like I said, it is the different format at the ENR FutureTech conference. We're just kind of here in some random room in the hotel chatting. I'm here with Rachael Ferrera. Man, okay. Zachry, robotics, all this stuff. Okay. I don't do robotics topics ever. And so I want to know, like, what's going on with robotics and Zachry and the world?
Yeah.
Like, what's happening?
Well, robotics in general, I think a lot of the robotics that have been developed for construction have been more in the vertical space. So it's painting robots and robots to put down your like floor plans and whatnot. There's a lot of great tools, but there hasn't really been stuff on the heavy civil side. And
Yeah.
now the autonomy around yellow iron, your heavy equipment, that's the stuff that we're getting excited about and stuff we're looking at.
Mm.
And it's not a little bit about Zachry. We're a self-performed heavy civil contractor, but we also have quarries and cement and
Right.
ready mix in Texas. And so that was where we're first interested in autonomy with
Sure.
equipment because that's a very predictable, closed site. But we're also looking at it on the construction side. So looking at for both parts of
Yeah.
our business.
Now I have seen like the videos of the guys doing somebody's behind a screen, kind of like they're with a drone and they're driving that kind of technology. Now is Zachary into that kind of technology now, and then they're looking to expand? And
No, not exactly. No.
okay,
So for us, that was not something I guess that has really intrigued us in that is it really replacing
I
an
got you.
operator,
I got you.
right? Yeah, there are tools now that you could have one person operating a few pieces of equipment.
That seems dangerous.
Possibly. But what's really intrigued us is the autonomy on the very predictable, easy parts of work,
Okay.
which is when we started having our
So we're talking
conversations.
fully autonomous,
Yes.
out there doing the work and nobody's getting in their way.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the stuff that we're looking at. That's the dream for sure.
Right. So how does that apply to, let's say, the not so, quarry type? How are you thinking this is going to apply in future? Obviously, more than just a layout machine. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. So what we're specifically looking at right now is we're partnered with Bedrock Robotics. And right now, what they're doing autonomy around is an excavator. And
Mhm.
an excavator obviously is a workhorse on a construction site and does
Right.
many operations. And maybe half of that is loading dirt in a truck, and the other half is probably 20 other things. And so using autonomy around that very predictable, repeatable task of loading dirt in a truck and use my skilled operator in the places where you're moving pipe around, you're moving retaining wall panels, whatever, those types of things. Let my operator do those more skilled tasks and get them out of the cab during the very predictable, easy work. And then my operator can serve multiple crews and it helps us, with our workforce.
So basically, it's kind of like what they say for AI and maybe an office
Mhm.
environment. We're going to kind of get rid of some of those redundant tasks that just
Yeah. Busy work.
busy work. Yeah,
Yeah.
busy
Yeah.
work. And then the more skilled stuff is
Yeah.
like that's where we apply our operators. That's where they're going to have the most, I'll say, fun, but that's where they're needed.
Yeah. And I'm not in their brain. I haven't sat in their seat, but I imagine that's more enjoyable and the more challenging work.
Yeah.
And get the busy work off.
Yeah, I was
off
saying,
there.
like, doing a dump run is no fun,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I used to haul I've driven a truck a time or two, so,
There you
yeah, I
go.
totally get it, yeah,
Yeah.
just driving back and forth and, they're dumping it there and
Mhm.
not a good time.
Yeah.
Doesn't take much skill there. Take a little skill,
I haven't done either, so I can't
Right.
speak to it. I wouldn't be able to,
Right.
I'm sure.
So beyond that, let's talk about, like, road crews and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So I have seen of kind of those machines, and
Mhm.
that's a form of robotics
Yeah.
in its way. Are we talking about that too, or is it even more advanced?
We have actually looked at a couple different companies out there around either placing the rebar, tying the rebar. There are different tools. We haven't pulled the trigger on any of them yet.
Right.
It's really doing a cost benefit analysis and making sure there's an ROI. And we haven't seen a place where that makes sense. We do have some upcoming projects where we see there's tools out there to like do all your rebar on a bridge deck. And so we have a very large bridge project in Oklahoma that might make sense. But if it's not a lion's share of your work, spending, the capital expenditure to purchase a large robot versus, it depends on how these companies also want to sell their product. Are they wanting you to buy the hardware and the piece of equipment, or can you rent it and use it? Just like instead of me paying a sub, I'm paying you to come do that same work. So we haven't gone down that avenue yet, and also keeping it in mind the relationships we have with subcontractors already. And okay, well, a robot can do this part of the work, but it can't do it entirely, and I still need to use my sub for that. And you have to navigate all that. You have
Yeah.
to figure out how you're going to, it's an ecosystem that can be sensitive, and
Yeah.
you don't want to.
So I kind of got two questions to kind of go
Yeah.
down from there. One is you kind of touched on the cost of entry. Right now,
Hmm.
we're still early
Yeah.
in this. Cost of entry is going to be a big thing.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, yeah, we want maybe to do some of the doldrum work, but there's cost of entry. Like,
Hmm.
is it worth it? And I still see a lot of guys just in my years in the business, guys taking jobs that spent too much money on they probably couldn't afford to be on the site in the first
Mm,
place. Sometimes that's the biggest breakdown
mm,
in construction is that guys, they're spending too much money.
yeah.
They got the wrong tools for the job.
I mean, that's a possibility for sure.
Uh,
Yeah, it's hard. I've asked estimating department, I've had different folks to try and like pencil it out and figure out does this economically make sense? And we haven't found a solution that does in that space.
right. That probably eases the mind of a few rod tires, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And again, especially when if it can't be a one-to-one, it's not apples to apples. It's, well, we
Right.
can do part of it, we can't do all of it. And so you still need your sub to do a chunk of the work, then
Mhm.
that may not work out
Yeah,
well.
these machines, they're not like a Waymo.
Okay. Well, that's what Bedrock Robotics is trying to do.
Okay, so
Yeah.
tell me more about that. So that's interesting.
Uh, yeah, it's really exciting. It's really, really exciting. It is, I think it was 40-ish engineers from Waymo are a part of the Bedrock team.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So they have that expertise. And what's really excited about working with them is they're not folks from construction, but they truly care about what we need.
Yeah.
And I find a lot of tech companies, it may be your tech bros from Silicon Valley, and they come up with an idea and they're like, I think construction needs this. And they bring it to you, or they've developed something that works in another industry and they want to apply it to
Mm,
construction. But they don't take the time to sit down with contractors or put some boots on and go out in the field and really learn what we do. And that is not going to set you up for success.
yeah.
And it can be very detrimental. And so what's nice about working and partnering with Bedrock is they actually, from the get go, from day one that we met them, they want input from us. And it's not just, let's talk to some executives. It's folks out in the field, operators, engineers, our equipment team, our safety team, our ops management. I mean, throughout the whole organization,
Mhm.
they want input so that they can truly build a product that is going to serve our
I,
industry.
I would recommend that to any contact founder, anybody that's going to start anything. Just
Hmm.
plan to go put your boots on for a
Yeah.
little while. Go spend a day in the heat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go put the PPE gear on. See what it's like
Yeah.
to be out there
Hmm.
amongst it, right?
Yeah.
In the scarier situations, looking over the edge of a bridge where you're just, kind of standing on some rebar with your tie
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Well, and the flip side of that is for contractors to also contribute industry knowledge, right? If what is interesting to me about innovation in construction is that in the construction space, we're competing against each other. And so there's always, everybody has their secret sauce or they don't want to talk to other contractors. And I get that. But when it comes to innovation, we need to collaborate. If you want the cream to rise to the top and you
Yeah.
want the best companies to be successful and the product that you love, that you've adapted and incorporated into your business workflow to be successful, if you hold those cards to your chest and you're not talking to your JV partner about that or your competitors and sharing that wealth of knowledge, they'll get bought up, they'll get swallowed up in the industry, and then that tool will
Yeah.
disappear. Right?
Yeah, truly, the companies that are successful, I think, the people that are successful are the ones that are willing to take that outside input and share. Because, like the high tide raises all boats kind of
Yes.
mentality.
Yes.
We are in that stage right now where if, in order for us to improve,
Mhm.
this idea of I've got mine, I'm going to keep it over here, I'm going to be just fine.
Mhm.
You're not in that environment anymore. Like
No.
you can go on Claude right now. I can go on Claude right now and write myself a program. I don't know how to code,
Mm-hmm.
but I can write myself a program for what I want to do. I don't,
Hmm.
so if you're not sharing that information and you're not utilizing that, you're just leaving somebody out they're going to go share with other people. And then they're going to raise those boats and your boat's going
Yeah.
to be over here on the dry dock.
Yeah. So I think contractors have to work together. to, I have several like leads of innovation at our competitors I talk to on a regular basis. And
Mhm.
hey, we piloted them. Have you used them? Have you seen this? Have you been to this conference? This is a great conference. There's a lot of great startups. So sharing that information, I think, really helps all of us move forward, but also sharing that industry knowledge with the tech providers
Yeah.
because I mean, it's so true. We get so bombarded. Between LinkedIn and
You've probably got
email.
one of my
Actually, I don't know if I have, but you get bombarded by all the startups,
yeah.
and it can be overwhelming. It can be exhausting, especially when they don't do due diligence. Startups, do your due diligence.
That's great advice, great advice. I was probably only asking for the podcast interview. It's true.
Yeah.
Again,
It's so there's two Zachrys in San Antonio, and they're brothers that run those two companies, but one's in power and industrial, and more heavy civil. And we have all the time where a startup will reach out to me, and they have all the other companies' branding, and they've done all their research there, and it's like a little bit of due diligence. So anyway, do your due diligence, but again, GCs, you need to share information with these tech companies if you want them to be able to really serve our industry.
that is true. And for the tech companies, yes. Listen,
Yeah.
I think I put a post out for when I was doing this. I'm just going to come here and listen to the stories again, just because that's the best way to learn. A lot of times, beyond experience, listen.
Yes. Yeah.
Listen more than you talk.
Yeah.
How did it seems common sense to me that
Mm.
Zachary would be into this next robotic, age
Mm.
thing. In your time, how much have you seen? Like it's going fast, isn't it? It's moving rapidly.
Yes. Yes. And construction is an industry that moves very slow.
Yes.
And it's no shock that we're laggard as far as tech goes. But people over here in Silicon Valley have finally discovered, like, hey, there's an industry that we all need to tap
It
into.
really must.
And they need a lot of help. So, like, good or bad, that's where we are. But yeah, it is moving fast. I was, and we're also slow to change things within our company as well. I mean, we try to be very diligent about pilot fatigue is a real thing. We don't want to be looking at every shiny new thing. I mean, the cost to deploy something and really make it an enterprise solution is expensive. So we want to be very deliberate before we do something like that. But it's very fast moving right now. I mean, I was a little bit shocked because I'd never had this experience with any tech company. When I first heard about Bedrock, I was on a AI in construction panel with one of their investors, and they were still in stealth mode at the
Okay.
time. So their investor offline said, "Hey, I have a company I'm working with that I think you'd be interested in." Okay. I think 2 or 3 days later, we had our first phone call. The following Tuesday, we all met in Austin. Our CEO and one of our VPs and myself were going to be in Austin for an LP meeting. They came in, met us. We had lunch.
Yes.
By Friday, we had an NDA signed, and Friday hardware was on our equipment. It's
That's
like,
yeah.
all right, this is the pace I like to move. This is exciting.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is moving fast and it is exciting, but you still have to, I think, cautiously move fast, and you need to make sure you do your due diligence. And
Sure. But in the age of information, the speed of AI,
Yeah.
you can do your research pretty quick,
yeah,
right?
you can.
You can get a lot of information in a hurry. It's just, digesting it and making
Mhm.
sure it's the right move for you.
Yeah.
It's one of the things I try to tell my clients
Mhm.
is, hey, guys, we've got, I know you feel like you got a lot of time, but you got to put a date on this.
True.
We can't wait for the decision, like you've normally waited for decisions. I respect companies that have done that, but
Yeah.
we're moving into an age where, you're going to get passed by if you don't
Yeah.
start making decisions.
You will lose opportunities, that's for sure. That's
Yeah.
for sure. And I think that it's a little bit different now because I think a lot of GC's appetites have been whet now for wanting to jump into this. And before that, I don't think that was the case.
Yeah.
And so if you had one GC that showed some interest, you're gonna stick to that until
Yeah.
you
Right.
really
So,
sign something.
right.
And now it's like you're not interested. Okay, I got
Next. Right.
next
Yeah.
in line.
So that brings me back to the whole topic of robotics.
Hmm.
Okay. For years, manufacturing has been utilizing robotics and has,
Yeah.
made just massive gains,
Mhm.
right? Productivity wise, massive gains.
Mm.
Same talk has been going on around construction for years, but yet we still haven't found the right tools, or
Mhm.
maybe we've just gotten a wrong pushback, kind of to your point.
Yeah.
You haven't done the right feedback loop, maybe fatigue in a pilot or whatever it
Mhm.
is. The reason is, but robotics is coming,
Mhm.
like, and it's coming faster than we think. I
Yeah.
just wanted kind of your take on that. And Zachary apparently leading the way here.
I mean, it's coming. And I think, they're clearly people sometimes have hype and fear around it, just like with AI, it's going to replace jobs or whatever. I don't think that's the case. I mean, it's something that's coming fast, and I think it's coming fast, and we need it to come fast because I think there's two factors here. One, yeah, there's a labor shortage, but it's not, I mean, we have all of our seats filled, as far as people we need, but the skilled operators today that we get are not the same as my guys that have 20, 30, 40 years with Zachary, right? So if we could somehow take that institutional knowledge and get that into the machine learning, that's fantastic, right? And let robotics help with that gap,
That's kind of the
right?
next phase, right?
Yeah. And I think the other thing that is allowing it to move fast is the technology is now here. Between the advances with AI, machine learning, computer vision, and the hardware itself, with all the autonomous vehicles, I think that's allowed the hardware to grow so quickly with the
Hmm.
LiDAR, the cameras, all and the processing, the compute and processing necessary. The merriment of those two things has allowed the tech, this is to be the right time for
Right.
this, right? And I really see that it's going to solve issues that we have, and really to allow us to bid and build more work. Like, we're not trying to replace a single employee. We want every person we have, but we're capped out on what we can bid and what we then can go build because we don't have all of the workforce that we need. And so
Sure.
this allows us to grow, and we're in a
Right.
big growth phase right now.
So I'm glad you're in a growth phase.
Yeah.
Because that's awesome because we definitely need.
Construction is in a growth phase, big time.
There's so much of that that has to
Yeah.
happen in a short amount of time
Yeah.
that we've obviously got to scale up and ways to scale up. I think it was interesting you were talking about how, technology moving from, like utilizing folks from Waymo now at Bedrock.
Yeah.
And then, but that it's still the sharing of information. It's the sharing of knowledge, the sharing of, hey, over at Waymo, this is what happened. And it
Hmm.
kind of looks like it might happen here too, now
Hmm.
that I'm over here at Bedrock. And so
Yeah.
this is that same thing where I say if you're in the technology space and you're working in contact, like be okay with bringing in some folks from construction into your technology
Yes.
area
Yes.
and letting them, I would say school you a little bit, but letting you understand like this is not how that works in real
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. And the other thing about bringing people on your team, I think to be cognizant of is not all construction is the same, right?
Right.
Um, and sometimes tech providers will have somebody that they bring on their team that's construction, but maybe they're from DPR, which great, but the work does is different than the work that Zachary does, right? And so it's not that the knowledge that they get from that person is wrong in any way. That's not it at all. But it's as a self-performed heavy civil contractor, it's very different than somebody who maybe doesn't self-perform all of the trades, or you're building hospitals and schools. That's very different
Right.
work.
Yeah. Self
And
perform doesn't have all the contract language
mhm,
involved. That's different when you have subcontract language.
yeah, I mean, I don't know how many tech startups have tried to tackle RFIs and submittals, right? And then they come to us as a heavy civil contractor and they're like, hey, we have this great tool. We
Hmm.
can handle RFIs and submittals. Like, that's not our bread and butter. Like, we have on $100 million job, we have a couple hundred of them. Like, it's not a big deal to us. I mean, it's something that we have to do and it's part of our business,
Yeah.
but it's not a pain point like it is in the vertical space. And they're like, no, I think you need to use our tools. Like, and so they have been informed, but they know a part of the industry. They
Yeah.
don't know the whole industry, which is fine, but you have to
Well, you
build.
learn.
Yeah.
You will
Yeah.
learn.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what's interesting too. I always say nobody wins and learns anything.
Hmm.
You know, like you can win and be okay with the win
I
and
get what you're
all
saying.
those kind
Yeah.
of things. But until you've made some mistakes, thank you. Until you've made some mistakes. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, failure is how you learn.
Yeah.
And if you fail and you don't take the opportunity to learn from that and like, okay, do we need a process improvement or what went wrong? How do we avoid that? Then
That's a big deal.
that's actually the failure,
Yeah. And
right?
I think that sometimes the big disconnect between technology and construction is when you fail in construction, a lot of times it's a very physical fail.
Mm.
I was talking today, we had marked out a locations for, coring and the guy cored in the
Mm.
wrong spot or missed it. And then he ended up cutting the electrical. And it was like, okay, you learn large lessons in a hurry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There. But if you're, writing code or doing tech, like you get that agile cycle. It was like
Yeah.
they want it to break almost, so that then they can figure out how to fix it.
Well, yeah, that's negative regression testing. You want to break it, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think, and it's a totally different way of looking
Yeah.
at a problem. It's like,
Yeah.
well, we're going to work this problem as many times as we possibly can,
Yeah.
and then get it right.
Yeah.
In construction, you really got maybe one, maybe two times to
Yeah.
get it right.
Yeah. And they're usually costly.
And they're very
failures.
costly.
Yeah.
Yeah, very costly. And sometimes people don't even know how costly, even a small failure is to whatever, a schedule,
Mhm.
there's something I always
Rework. Yeah.
I always thought about that with, like people missing work, right?
Mhm.
You don't understand, like you got a guy that takes off every Friday
Mhm.
from a crew, and especially if he's like a key person or whatever,
Mhm.
and he's missing a lot of work, like,
Yeah.
you know how many hours that puts your schedule, like depending on the size of your project,
Yeah.
And so you can kind of scale that into anything. It's like every week, for some reason, we're missing 200 people.
Yeah.
It used to be a thing, like Super Bowl Sunday was the
Oh,
most,
yeah. Well,
you had to
Monday,
you had to
right?
Super Bowl
Yeah.
Monday, you had to plan for it because,
Yeah.
well, nobody's going to show up.
I was shocked the school districts around San Antonio this year, and I don't know if it was broader than San Antonio, but a lot of the school districts were closed on Monday after Super Bowl Sunday. I'm
Yeah.
like, are the kids drinking? Or is it like too many teachers? What
It's
is going on here?
no, it's those teachers. Those teachers.
Yeah.
As,
Yeah. But then it forces parents to take off because their kids can't go to school. So anyway,
I don't know.
I appreciate the commute that day. It was really easy to
I
get
know,
to the
it
office.
was great. It was great.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You and I probably just ran through 15 different things of what's going on in construction. And, we've either got a communication problem, we've got a technology problem,
Mhm.
we've got just a basically how to get it done problem, right? Robotics has the ability, kind of to help in a lot of those areas. Sometimes I feel like it may not be moving fast enough. Like you want it to move faster, but like we were just talking about in construction, we've got to move at a pace that keeps everybody safe,
Yes.
right? And we're in a new frontier here. And so we've got to be diligent about that part. I
Yeah.
suppose that's probably a huge part of your job.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
definitely. So when we're looking at robotics, we have a few factors that, and not just robotics, I think anything that we
Sure.
deploy, but obviously safety is going to be a go, no go. Like if something is not as safe or safer than what we have doing the work today, humans, we're not going to implement that. We're not going to, the most important thing is that our people go home the same way they
That's
came to work, right?
Yeah.
But there's other factors when we're looking at why we want to maybe deploy a tech. Is it going to be easy? You can build the best tech possible, but if it's not easy for my team to interface with, it is useless, right? And adoption, I think, is where most tech fails, right? You can build the best thing, but if you don't have a good plan for adoption and rollout, then it's going to fail. And even if you roll it out well, but the UI that end users are encountering is terrible, then
I would
it's
say
not
you're
gonna be
never going to
successful.
adopt if you don't make it easy to adapt.
Yes. Yeah. I like that. I like that.
You can use it.
Yeah. And then I guess one of the other things we're looking at with robotics is you want to ensure that it's going to give you the production rates that you're doing today, right? So if it's not doing that, and what is nice and ties into the guy taking off every Friday is with autonomy with equipment, they don't have sick days, right? I mean, equipment goes
There's
down.
downtime. Yeah. There's idle time, downtime, those kind of things. Yeah.
But it gives you predictable, consistent numbers that you can lean into, and it can help us with bidding work and winning work if we have that consistent predictability. And if it can be even more productive, then even better.
You
Right?
said the key word, and I think it's the one thing that everybody agrees on as we move into more technology into our systems, into robotics, AI, whatever it is. It's that predictability piece that we really, really need because, as we all know, we humans are fairly unpredictable most times. So we're trying to, ease our way into that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Time goes really, really fast.
Yes, it does.
Conversation. I really do appreciate you spending some time with me today. I hope you'll come back for, like I said, the full episode. I do the Texas Drive Time episode of, 45 to 50 minutes or so.
Oh, nice.
Have you back on, and we'll, dive deeper, maybe talk a little bit more, not quite so unscripted, but,
Okay.
yeah, a little bit more organized, I guess.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.